Hi everybody, welcome to tnSportsChat presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network. I'm Patrick Matsinko, this is Emmett McCall. Back this week, a lot of ground to cover. Feels like maybe we kind of led with this last time too, but we're really now right on the cusp of the postseason starting in all of our sports. I mean, we're into league playoffs. District wrestling is a week away, so we're kind of
swimming a week away.
So we're right on the doorstep of kind of the heavy part of our seasons.
Yeah, this is the exciting part of the year. League playoffs are going on right now in basketball, girls and boys basketball. All three area leagues are having their playoffs this weekend. Tomorrow, we're doing this on a Friday. Saturday, Eastern Pennsylvania Conference, Colonial League, Schuylkill League are all having their championship games. You mentioned wrestling. That's next Friday and Saturday at Freedom and Liberty High Schools. District diving is next weekend, and then the following week will be district swimming, and next week district basketball gets underway too. So big week.
Yeah, so a lot to look forward to, but we are right in the middle of a very interesting Schuylkill League girls basketball tournament where we have Jim Thorpe girls through to the final. Perfect record still intact.
Boys or girls that's playing for a league championship.
Jim
23-0.
Yeah, Jim Thorpe played really well against Lords on Thursday night.
20-point victory, as they've been doing to teams throughout most of the year. A lot of big wins for that team. Still amazing, starting three freshmen to have the success they have had this year. But they will get their biggest, I think we could say without question, their biggest test of the season will come Saturday up at Martz Hall. They play a Monterey area team that's 22-1. So you've got a 45-1 record when you combine the two teams. That's two really good girls basketball teams.
Yeah, and I know just kind of over the last couple of weeks we've had obviously Monterey play a couple of other teams from our area, and you kind of try to pay attention, I guess, kind of as we're going along. One of their best player, Abby McGee, was out. She returned against Tamaqua and maybe kind of had to shake off a little bit of rust, but sort of shown, I guess, why she is one of the top players in the region. So. Yeah,
that's the key for Monterey. We had heard she might not be back to district. She's been out, I think, since the first week of January. She missed 6 or 7 games. And as good as Monterey still is and was without her, there was a noticeable difference with her off the court against games against Marion. With her, they won by 18 points. Without her, it was a 2-3 point game.
Yeah.
Same with Weatherly. Blew them out the first time when McGee played. Weatherly was within single digits for most of the game when they played her without McGee, so it's a huge addition for them. And we expect her to be in the lineup tomorrow. She played against Tamaqua on Thursday night.
Yeah, but the Lady Raiders certainly held their own. That was a close game there, kind of going into the second half, and then Monterey kind of just sort of pulled away.
Yeah, it was tied late in the second quarter, that game. Monterey got I think a 4-point lead at half they took, and then just kind of gradually pulled away in the second half. But it was a good showing by the Raiders, and that was the first game of the doubleheader up there on Thursday. Second game, Jim Thorpe, Skylar Searfoss had
a
career night. Yeah, she's only a freshman, so she's got a lot of chances to top that career night. But 39 points. I know in the first half, I think she only missed 1 field goal attempt. 39 out of Jim Thorpe's 51 points.
Yeah.
It was a crazy performance by Skylar.
Yeah, and Lords had that game. That was close
Lords
early
was
on.
ahead after one quarter.
So
yeah.
That was one of those nights, and maybe you kind of keep thinking that they're young, they're freshmen, but they've been tested.
Big stage, Martz Hall, big court.
Sure, yeah, and we've talked about it a lot, I think, throughout the season too. But they've kind of just constantly sort of lived up to and matched those expectations. They haven't cracked.
Yeah, so. Olivia Smalis, Layla Hurley are the other 2 freshmen that started. Normally you're starting 3 freshmen and you're at the bright lights and the playoffs at Martz Hall. You might think it might be a little intimidating, but we just know throughout the years, these girls have all played the AAU circuit.
Yeah.
They've been everywhere from Florida to traveling all over the East Coast to play AAU games against teams from all over the country, so they're kind of immune to that, I would think. They played big games.
And again, they do have that sort of upperclassman kind of steady hand veteran leadership. Natalia Richards, then they have Kristen Scott, who's a junior. Natalia Richards is a senior. So
3-year starter for Richards.
Yeah,
4-year starter maybe.
So it's nice that I think they do have that balance, and it's absolutely been really a perfect mix.
It should be an interesting final. You've got Jim Thorpe, who can score points. They defend well, but they get up and down the court and they can score points. Monoi's no more for their defense.
Sure.
They've been holding a lot of opponents this year in the 20s or low 30s. So it'll be an interesting dynamic to see if Jim Thorpe is able to solve their defense.
So that'll be what we're looking forward to as far as girls basketball and basketball really, I guess in general this weekend. But we also had the Northwestern girls qualify for the Colonial League playoffs, and they were eliminated by Southern Lehigh, a very good Southern Lehigh team that's kind of been there, kind of at the forefront, I guess, in girls basketball in districts and in the Colonial League now for the last several years. So.
Yeah, Northwestern won last Saturday, won a quarterfinal game to advance. I think beat Moravian Academy, was it, and advanced into the semifinals, and then they just kind of ran into a juggernaut in Southern Lehigh on Thursday night, lost 55-18. It's a Southern Lehigh team that has had their number this year, beat Northwestern 3 times now. All games were kind of comfortable margins. So now Northwestern, read Coach Chris Deutsch's comments in Friday's Times News that you can read, and it's basically like, let's put the game on the back burner. It's over. It's done with. Let's forget about it and get ready for districts.
Yeah, and we do have a lot of teams that are getting prepared, getting locked in for districts. Obviously, we have some teams that qualified for league playoffs, but for the others, there's just kind of now this lull, sort of like a waiting period before we kind of maybe know who's playing who and who's going where. But we do have a lot of teams that we know that are in.
15 teams that are in, 8 boys, 7 girls. They'll start. District qualifying round play is Tuesday and Wednesday, I believe, but as far as we're calculating, I don't think we're going to have any Times News teams playing there. Quarterfinal action starts Thursday and continue Friday and Saturday, and like I said, we'll have a bunch of Times News teams playing in that round. We've got the girls teams, or the boys teams. Let's start with the boys. We have our class that's really loaded is the 4A. We have 4 of our area teams in the Class 4A playoffs, including Tamaqua and Northwestern, who we're thinking are going to match up. Tamaqua 3 seed, Northwestern 6. If everything kind of stays like we think it will, they'll be playing in the quarterfinal round. And we also have Northern Lehigh and Jim Thorpe are in that bracket.
Yeah, and I mean, again, you think about it, Tamaqua has been playing really well all season, kind of ran up against it maybe at the end, trying to get into the Schuylkill League playoffs.
Right, the last weekend of the season, last Thursday night, they lost the game to Blue Mountain. They kept them out of the Schuylkill League playoffs, but they're a team that's dangerous. Yeah,
and I think Northern Lehigh, too, has played really well all season. Northern Lehigh boys qualified for the Colonial League, Colonial League boys tournament. So, again, Jeff Miller has those kids playing really well. Brandon has
last few weeks of the season. They've won a lot of games. They're coming in. They lost to Notre Dame in the Colonial League quarterfinals, but before that, they were on a nice little roll, and they're going to take some good momentum into district playoffs.
Yeah, like you mentioned, though, that is our most kind of loaded class, but we do have teams kind of scattered, throughout on the boys and the girls side.
Right, Weatherly boys are in the Class A field. Didn't have a winning record, but qualified based on a minimum number of teams that have to get in, so they got in the Class A. Marion is in the Class AA field. The Colts had a win. I think it was like 4 out of the last 6 or 3 out of the last 5 games. They're coming in on a nice little streak. Yeah. They've played well the last 2 weeks of the season to get into districts. They're going to be in Class 2A, and Panther Valley, another team that's had a really good season, they're going to be part of the Class 3A field.
And Panther Valley, think about it too, kind of put a stamp on the end of the season, regular season, with that win over Tamaqua a week ago. So,
and that's a field that 3A field. Palmerton is also in that field, and there's only 4 teams in it. So those teams are going to get a bye to the semifinal round. 2 teams qualify for states, so it's basically you win once, you're going to states.
Yeah.
The way we have it set up, the way it looks like, is Palmerton's going to be playing Notre Dame of Green Pond. Panther Valley is going to play New Hope Salisbury. So, like I said, winning, you're into states.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I think, at this point, all you can really ask for. But on the girls' side, we have a returning district champion, obviously, Weatherly Girls in Class A.
Emily Zolson leading
Yeah.
the way. Have a few starters returning on that team.
Sure.
And like you said, won the district title last year, advanced to state. So they're coming in as the number 2 seed this year. Susquehanna Community, that's a Class A is kind of a District 11, District 2 sub-regional.
Yeah.
So Susquehanna Community is the top seed, but Weatherly, we're expecting them to contend for the title again this year.
Yeah, and again, too, you think we've already kind of talked a little bit about some of these teams that we've had in league playoffs, but you look at maybe Class 2A, where Marion has had a phenomenal season.
Kind of flying under the radar, just because
under the radar, 19-3. I mean,
right, just had a really big late season win over Notre Dame of Green Pond,
Yeah.
who only has 2 losses. They were the regular season champs of the Colonial League. They're playing for the Colonial League championship against Southern Lehigh on Saturday. And Marion, I think, beat them by 9 or 10 points. It was actually a comfortable win. But they fly under the radar simply because they're in the same division with Monte Area, same district class as Monte Area, which, in Class 2A, even earlier in the season, Monte was one of the top teams, if not the top team in the entire state in that class.
Yeah.
So, Marion kind of had an uphill battle just to make league playoffs, didn't do it. So you kind of get forgotten a little bit, but they've had a great year. Emily Schouds has really had a phenomenal year for them.
And again, you think about just kind of, I don't want to say, right place, wrong time, but in a lot of ways, I mean, and it's, whether, like you said, with the league, with districts, it's just so tough and, but they'll have a chance.
Right. I mean, they gave them a really good battle. The last regular season game they played them, well, not the last, but with about a couple of weeks left in the regular season, they played Monte. It was a game that was kind of even in the fourth quarter. Monte ended up pulling it out at the end, but they'll have the Phillies will have their 3rd chance at Monte in the district playoffs if everything works, the way kind of we're projecting in the semifinal games.
So that should be a lot of fun. There's a lot to look forward to there, but then you kind of move on, and we've already mentioned obviously Jim Thorpe, Tamaqua, Northwestern, but
they're all in the 4A class
with a very talented Bethlehem Catholic team.
Yes.
And I mean, you just think about how deep that whole group is. I mean, that's
Central Catholic is also in that. So those 5 teams are all really good girls basketball teams. All of them in that class. The one good thing for those teams is that's a class where 3 teams will advance to state. So, if you're unfortunate enough to hook up with Becca in a semifinal game, you always have the chance if you lose that, in the consolation. Although, Becca has made it to the Eastern Pennsylvania Conference Championship game. They're going to be playing Northampton tomorrow night, but Pleasant Valley gave Becca a real scare in the quarterfinals. It was tied in the second half, and Pleasant Valley was down 15 in the first quarter, came back, eventually tied it in the third quarter, lost by 7 points, I believe. Gave them a really good game. Coach Nadia Goronsky, doing a really nice job with that Pleasant Valley team, and so Becca, as good as they are, and as good a record as they had in the EPC, they're beatable. And
that they're gonna. I mean, it's kind of got to look at that, I guess, too. Like, they're going to get everybody's best shot. So that's a team that beat Imhotep this year. So again, a very talented group, but. You think about, again, a team like Pleasant Valley, not at all overwhelmed or intimidated by the situation. So
and I'm really excited to see when we have Jim Thorpe and Tamaqua, who were 2 teams that made the Schuylkill League playoffs, and Northwestern, a team that made the Colonial League playoffs. You have Becca and Central, who both made the EPC playoffs. So you got 3 different leagues, all playoff teams.
Oh yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how the matchups come out. And just see when they start playing each other, league versus league.
It'll be fun because then it really is a whole new season, and everything resets. But like we mentioned too about Pleasant Valley, the Bears are in the 6A tournament, which is again a deep, loaded field of mainly EPC teams.
Right,
So,
and the good news for Pleasant Valley is they're the 5 seed, it looks like, which means they won't have to play in that preliminary round of games. It looks like now teams 6 through 11 will have to play in that round, so at least they get a bye there and right into the quarterfinals.
yeah, so that's kind of what we have.
We forgot 3A, Palmerton.
Oh,
The
Palmerton
girls, our friend Bailey Gatus,
Yes.
senior leader, co-captain of the Palmerton teams, big fan of the Times News sports chat
Which
and
we appreciate.
Times News web pages. Yes, we do. But she's going to be one of the leaders of that Palmerton team. Like I said, 3A playoffs. They're the 3 seed, and you know, Bombers have a chance to advance if seeds hold up. That semifinal game will be a big one for them, you know, trying to advance into the state tournament.
Yeah, and Dan Beck, first year there as head coach.
Doing a
I mean, that's a
really
really nice job there,
and-
getting
and-
them, you know, kind of back in.
It's a program that's improved each of the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Kind of a couple more wins every year. Got Brianna Moore, freshman,
Really talented freshman, yeah.
playing well for them. So
Kalis and Scylla, I mean, you have Emily Recker, you have so many of these girls. Lindsay Nemeth, you know, I'm just kind of thinking that, you know, you have Nostein, you have so many of these girls, and they're all underclassmen.
Yeah.
Bailey Gatus is the only senior, so that's definitely a group that's going to be building going forward.
So we're excited about it. District playoffs coming up. It's a good time of year. And speaking of district playoffs, wrestling.
Yeah, this is kind of, again, like we talked about with basketball, sort of a little bit of a lull. We had a couple of matches. We've had a couple of matches the last week or so coming off of district duels, kind of wrapping up some schedules. We just had Lehigh wrestle Jim Thorpe. We had Tamaqua wrestle Blue Mountain. So and then we had Panther Valley wrestle Mononoy. So actually kind of interesting that they pack in, and you know, we've had some weather here and there, but to pack in another couple of Schuylkill League matches right here at the end of the season, I'm sure they're not complaining about that to get that mat time, and to not have to go like Northwestern was going to go to Parkland and scrimmage and stuff like that. And
Yeah, I
roll
think
around with
a
those
lot of the
guys.
Schuylkill League schools seem to have done that this year, and I think it's a good idea. There's such a layoff between team duels and team and individuals that, you're talking 2.5, 3 weeks that, and you can go and scrimmage and, you know, practice with other teams. Yeah, it's not the same as getting the
live and that intensity.
So I think that's a good move by some of the teams, and you know, and now we're ready to go.
And the competition is good.
Yes.
I mean, you look at it and you think, there's Jim Thorpe, there's Lehigh, there's Mononoy, there's Tamaqua, Blue Mountain. I mean, but all those teams except for Panther Valley qualified for district duels.
Right.
So I mean, those are all teams that, and most made it to the second day. So that's quality mat time, quality competition for all those kids. But I mean, with districts coming up, that'll be fun. It's kind of that first stop on the road to Hershey, which we've coined it.
What are you thinking, Pat? You do a lot of our wrestling coverage. We have several local wrestlers who they're going to be seated up higher in their class. Who do you think? Who are some of the guys who have the best chance to advance to regionals or win a district title, maybe even?
I mean, we had a lot of guys go to regionals last year. We only had Caleb Clymer win a district title. We had a lot of guys in finals, thinking we had Lucas Chrisman, we had Bronson Strauss, we had Ethan Mordaunt. Those guys are back. And then you throw in a Derek Hunter at heavyweight. He'll be with Strauss at heavyweight. So, and that's a sophomore and a junior. You have Mordaunt, he's back. But we've had a lot of other guys though that have had good seasons. Chris Whiteman,
for example.
The 1-2 that I'm kind of interested in is Logan Pagato, another Lehigh wrestler. He's had a really nice season. He's had a couple of losses in big matches, close matches though, against really, really good competition that could have gone either way, one point or another. And I'm just kind of really interested to see what he does at districts. He wrestles at 152, so really excited to kind of see how things shake out for him. And then we have again, like you had mentioned about Chris Whiteman, but we have just, I think, kind of a deep pool. We have a lot of Tamaqua kids that have had really nice seasons. Aaron Cochio, Nate Wickersham, Carson Krell. So we've had a lot of guys that I think are definitely going to be placing. Again, it's just that kind of breaking through and getting past Austin Williams, Jim Thorpe, another really, really talented wrestler that was undefeated for a while, along with Ethan Mordaunt. But yeah, we've had a lot of kids that have had really nice seasons, and it's going to be exciting. I know we have a couple of weight classes. I think it's 182 where it's loaded. I mean, when we did the last rankings, we had Watson, Williams, Krell, and then you throw in Ali Heighton, Alex Ziegenfuss, and almost all four of those kids within the last couple of weeks have wrestled each other, but they've all been splitting matches. So it's kind of been like, this kid has a win over this kid, but a loss over this kid. So
and they're all going to be in the same class. They're all double A wrestlers. So
I mean,
we'll see some rematches again,
which will be exciting. And it's nice for me too with the rankings because it really kind of helps things shake out a little bit, and you get those head-to-head matchups, and then just kind of take it from there. But the
format for that this weekend is Friday. Double A is at
Freedom.
Triple A is at Liberty.
And then Saturday
morning during the day, they keep the same buildings.
Yep.
And then Saturday night for all the finals and the placement matches, everybody
goes back to all the finals, and the consolation finals are back at Liberty. So
everything winds up at Liberty.
Which get there early because parking isn't easy and it gets extremely crowded. So it's fun, but it gets super crowded. So get there early. But it's a really cool environment, probably the coolest of the year. So maybe other than States, obviously. But it's really loud. So it's cool. But so 4 from AA go to regionals, 5 from AAA go to regionals. So that's kind of what you're shooting for. Is yeah. And if you're in that third place match, regardless that you're going to regionals. But we've had kids get out to regionals before. Maybe they were 5th at districts, they go to regionals as an injury replacement. Colin Rex of Northwestern did it a few years ago, and he went to states. So he beat all the kids that he had lost to in districts at regionals, and he went to states. So it can happen.
Never know.
Yeah,
right?
But so that'll be next weekend.
So basketball, wrestling, and we also have swimming to talk about.
Yeah.
And you were up at Schuylkill League swimming last weekend. We had some great area performances, and we're looking still a week and a half, 2 weeks away till the district swimming, but I'm thinking all of those local kids who did so well at Schuylkill's are going to be major contenders at districts coming up.
And I mean, what a day. That was
10 gold medalists from the Times News area.
Yeah, we had Marion, had Danny Berlitz and Maddie Dando both win double gold, and then Panther Valley, we had Emily Newton and Erica Zimmerman both win double gold. So
and then 3 of the 4, the only one's the senior in that group is Berlitz.
Yeah.
The other ones, what do we have?
Sophomore.
Dando's a sophomore. Newton's a sophomore.
Zimmerman's
only
a
a freshman. Yeah, so
and Jacqueline Kokinda,
who had two silver medals, and she's
also
only a sophomore.
Yeah.
So lots of great performances by our area swimmers up there. And Tamaqua,
Kayla Sherry had an individual gold, and then also, I mean, it really kind of kick-started the whole meet with helping the 200 medley relay win gold. So it was her, Brianna Dumont, Sarah Maui, and Nicole Aguero Ramirez. So they won, which is, I thought that was kind of, maybe just sort of a tone setter really for the day.
Right, and with so many individual winners, it kind of could get overlooked very easily.
Oh, yeah.
But they were, what were
no,
they, the third
were not.
seed or fourth seed in that
were.
event? And I read Kayla Sherry's quotes, and she talked about how that kind of kick-started the day for her, and actually for the whole area contingent, it looked like.
Yeah, and I think even Tamaqua swim coach Jen Paisley had said it, that it was kind of like they swam the races of their lives, for a lot of those girls, each leg of that. So that was awesome. Definitely fun to be a part of.
Relays are always fun in any sport, whether you're looking at track, the 4x1, or swimming. It's a lot of sports like that are individual sports, and when you get that relay together, it's got that kind of team feeling, team bond that kind of you get a little extra excitement there.
Absolutely, everybody's so into it, and that's a ton of fun. So we have a lot to look forward to with district, and then obviously state swimming still on the horizon. So that'll be coming up within the next week or so.
Right. Next weekend is district diving. Tamaqua has a couple of boy divers. They finished, I think, 3rd and 4th in the Schuylkill League diving, but they'll be contenders. They'll be contenders at districts. I think districts are at Emmaus this weekend.
Remember last year they had to move everything around, and there was, I think, was it a fire that they had to take it from Parkland, put it to Emmaus, and everything got kind of jumbled up. So so hopefully everything can kind of stay, I guess, where it's supposed to this year. But yeah, that'll be here in the next couple of weeks. So
yes, it's going to be an exciting couple of weeks. Leagues this weekend, districts in the next couple of weekends. You got regionals, you got states. We got inter-district play in basketball. We'll be back to kind of update on all these things. But it's a good time of year to be a high school sports fan.
Absolutely, and also a shout out to Tamaqua girls basketball player Emma Kaczynski. She was our most recent Lehigh Valley Health Network Athlete of the Week. Phenomenal performance.
Last week she had a triple-double, a double-double, and then another double-figure scoring game in her 3 games. And that's kind of regular for her. She's a double-double machine, you know. Yeah, so kind of the Russell Westbrook of high school girls basketball.
Yeah.
But triple-doubles, double-doubles. And I believe, I'm trying to remember the stats from that game, but I believe her triple-double steals were one of them. It wasn't rebounds, assists, and points. I think it was points, rebounds, and steals, which is crazy.
Is not easy to do.
To get double-figure steals in a game. I think she had 11 or 12 in the game where she got the triple-double. So congratulations to her.
Yeah, and be on the lookout again next week for our upcoming Lehigh Valley Health Network Athlete of the Week. But so I think that's all for this week.
Yeah, it was fun. Looking forward to the week ahead.
Yeah, a lot to cover, a lot to look forward to. So for Emmett, McCall, I'm Patrick Matsinko. Thank you again for tuning in to tnSportsChat presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network.